Kia ora, good evening. As predicted, the Reserve Bank today lifted the official cash rate by 25 basis points to 3.25%.
Reserve Bank Governor Graham Wheeler said in a statement released today that New Zealand's economic expansion has considerable momentum, with the country's gross domestic product estimated to have grown by 4% in the year to June. This is the second time this year the Reserve Bank has acted to curb inflationary pressures brought on by an expanding New Zealand economy. Currently, short-term mortgage interest rates are sitting at around 6.25%, with many New Zealanders moving to fix their home loan rates ahead of further predicted increases in the coming months.
Southland Energy has announced it intends to downsize its West Coast operations by a quarter, but have confirmed no major changes are expected with its Southland operations. Southland Energy currently employs 58 staff across its two coal mining operations, Ojai Mine and New Vale Mine. The state-owned enterprise says current plans for the region are to continue at about the same level of operation and build gradually as new industrial customers increase demand. The company has leased the Mataura briquette plant to GTL Energy, and surplus land around the Mataura area has been sold as part of now abandoned plans to turn lignite into products like fertiliser or fuel. Invercargill City Council Finance and Policy Committee Chair Neil Boniface is delighted with Council's 0.62% rates increase. Councillor Boniface took Hunter Andrews through the details earlier today.
Oh, I'm delighted with it. We had 1.35 last year, and this year we've achieved 0.62. So that's a good result, and it means there's more money in the ratepayers' pockets to spend on other priorities and less on rates. So I think we've needed to do that. It's been something that's been coming for a while.
What were the areas that we were initially, last time we spoke it was 0.43, what were areas where extra expenditure was required?
Well, I think mainly in social and environmental areas. The council listened to the submissions, and at the Bluff Coast Guard, initially they wanted 100, but their appeal's going really well, so they only wanted 50, so we granted 50 to them. The Bluff Yacht Club have got a real problem with the ramp there, and it needs to be investigated, so we put 30,000 in towards that. There was the homelessness issue in Invercargill, and we had quite a few submissions from a lot of ratepayers saying support that in some way. So what we've done is one of the councillors, Councillor Arnold, is going to drive that and focus on that and try and find the proper avenue to spend that $20,000. So we haven't granted to any organisation, but it's there to be used for that issue. And there were some minor issues like the Child, Youth and Family Committee wanted 10,000. There's some rats and stoats and problems on Bluff Hill, which they made a real good submission, wanting 10,000 to help eradicate those types of threats on the bird life on Bluff Hill. So that's been granted as well. And I'm trying to remember the other $10,000. There was another 10,000 for another sort of environmental. Oh no, it was the Poppycock Trust.
Right.
And they are looking at the health and well-being of people on the internet, and especially young people. So that's a trust that it's doing some really good work, and it's achieved good results in other parts of New Zealand. So we've put some money into that to try and help relieve some problems there.
What about, are there any surprises could be on the way with Anderson Park and things like that? I think we talked about that last time.
Yes, Anderson Park is still an issue. We're still waiting for the report on that, and I think the council is really wanting to help Anderson Park get back into their home, but we're not sure whether it's just the chimneys or how much repair is required there. So the engineering report is due any time now, and as soon as it's there, I think the council will have to make some commitment to try and fix the problem and to get the Anderson Park Art Gallery back into their home.
It won't be left till next year?
No, I don't think so. I think we'll do it, and I think we have reserves in hand. There is a building reserve for the Reserves Department for their own buildings, and I consider Anderson Park a pretty important building in their portfolio. So there is some funds there to do it. It depends, of course, on how much is required.
Council did listen to South Invercargillites over their preference not to have a directed rate for that coordinator.
We did get a lot of submissions from a lot of people there. I think some of them didn't quite understand what was involved, and I think that's that's an issue that probably the council and South Alive have to work together.
You mean they felt that they may be funding the whole revitalisation rather than...
I think, yeah, and I think that they thought it was quite a big amount. I think that they focused on the coordinator, and I think South Alive's achieved so much tremendous good work in the last year. They've achieved a lot, and South Invercargill is looking really good, and a lot of that's been driven and assisted not only by the volunteers but by having a coordinator who can focus in on getting things done. So maybe the Urban Rejuvenation Committee can probably look at maybe a coordinator for all of that urban rejuvenation work, which includes Bluff, Waikiki and Glengarry and Windsor as well. So we may be able to, within the existing budget, try and accommodate that.
A lot of submissions in favour of the retention of Vibrant, but council's opted for another path.
Yes, well, we went through a process last year where we interviewed the contenders and got some feedback also from the business owners and retailers in the area, and I think the council felt as though Vibrant hadn't delivered what we were looking for, and we're not the best provider going forward for what's required. And so we're going to go out and further consult, so they're not totally out of the picture, but I think there's a need to get a real feel from what the retailers want. Do they want more events in the CBD, or do they want money spent on the revitalisation of the CBD itself? And so that's still up in the air, and we'll consult with that as soon as we can.
Stay with us. Still to come on the bulletin, linking counterfeit goods and organised crime, plus the mental health of our farming community. Welcome back. The Southern District Health Board has begun developing a strategic plan to guide how the health sector delivers services. The plan will paint a whole-of-district picture of what the health system could look like in 5 to 10 years and how Southern people can benefit from South Island services. The most recent health profile snapshot showed the most broad benefits would come from reducing smoking, obesity and heavy alcohol consumption, and improvement in chronic conditions like diabetes, asthma, mental health, primary care access and care for older people closer to home. Several organisations are involved in developing the draft plan, which will be presented to the community in November. In excess of 12,000 people have visited the Ministry of Health's rural section of its National Depression Initiative website since the section went live in April.
Associate Health Minister Jo Goodhue has acknowledged the high volume of traffic since farmers' stories about overcoming depression were added. She says the web traffic has come from across the country and the average length of visits to the page indicates that visitors are viewing at least one of the 3 videos. Rural depression is an important issue, so it's encouraging that so many people are turning to the information and self-help tools that are available on the website, says Mrs Goodhue. The written stories and videos from rural men and women who have been affected by depression, along with the self-help tools, can be found at www.depression.org.nz/rural.
Labour's spokesperson for Youth Affairs, Louisa Wall, was in the city today. While here, she visited the city's one-stop youth welfare centre, number 10. The Auckland-based MP had nothing but praise for the facility and its staff.
What are your impressions? You've seen the facility. What are your impressions of number 10?
First impressions are what a wonderful building, what an amazing space. Really warm and embracing, and I can see young people wanting to come in here and actually be empowered to share whatever struggles they're going with. I think it's fantastic that there's health services here, social services, so it really is a one-stop shop, which means when they walk through the door they'll get a holistic kind of assessment of what their needs are, and I think the staff here are really committed to meeting the needs of young people.
This is the way of the future, do you think, as far as this sort of one-stop shop goes, and not only targeting this age group, perhaps there's room in other areas as well?
Absolutely, I think it is best practice, because what we're doing is putting young people at the centre and at the heart of a service, and essentially that service then provides comprehensively for their needs, whether they be education needs, social needs, health needs. And what I've heard from a lot of the staff that engage with our young people, some of them have stumbled. They're not quite sure, what they want out of their life, and this does provide a safe haven to regroup, to have some counselling if that's what they need, but also to set goals. And coming through here, they have access to nurses, GPs, so that we can make sure they're healthy and well. But I think this really is, it is about the future provision of services to young people. I think the services around the young people, wrapped around, they come here, everything is provided for them in this one facility. Yeah, really should be the model that we use.
I guess it's hard though, when you are going for funding, whether through central government or local community providers, what tangible impacts can you point to within the community?
Tangible impacts in terms of facilities like this? Well, actually one of the things I'm really impressed with is that the local secondary schools actually have an option for children and young people who are struggling at school to come here specifically to learn, but also to find new ways of dealing with things that frustrate them so they don't end up being suspended or excluded from school. So there is a facility within Number 10 for kids to come here, get the support they need to return to school, and I guess a bit more clear and focused about what they want to do in the future. So facilities like this prevent a lot of bad things happening, but also can help young people who have gone through challenging times not repeating that behaviour and ending up with, in a spiral of not really knowing what they want to do with their lives, not being in productive employment, but more than that, not doing something that they enjoy. Because at the end of the day, what we want is young people who are healthy, who are well, who are having fun, who are expressing themselves and fulfilling the potential that we need them to as young citizens of our country. The challenge for us as adults is to actually step back and ask young people what they want, what services they want, which is why I think a service like Number 10 is so vital, because that seems to be ingrained in the ethos of the staff who work here.
Police are urging New Zealanders to consider the consequences of buying counterfeit or pirated goods online. New Zealand Police are supporting Interpol's Turn Back Crime campaign and are working with Customs and the Intellectual Property Office to raise awareness of bargain branded goods and their links to organised crime. Branded goods like medicines, clothing and accessories can end up funding organised crime and even terrorism, according to Detective Senior Sergeant Steve Dunn at the New Zealand Police. He says New Zealanders can play their part by using common sense, buying from reputable retailers, and say if it's too good to be true, then it probably is. Time is running out for locals to get correctly enrolled to vote in the Wallerstown Community Board by-election in order to ensure voting papers get sent to them in time in the mail. Invercargill Registrar of Electors Carol Baxter is encouraging residents to check they're enrolled in order to vote in August's postal vote before the 19th of June. People can check they are enrolled by visiting any post shop or by calling 0800 36 76 56. That's all from us. Sport follows the weather, which is up next. From the news team, good night.